I mean, bad news for Shakur Stevenson. Leave it to your boy Ego to break down what it is. Whoa, what's up? Would you expect anything less of me at this point? Shakur Stevenson, I got some bad news for you, my guy. In this video, I'm going to break down why I say that. If you follow to the end of this video, it will make a lot of sense. Your boy Ego, I'm on point. I don't be jaw-jacking. I'll let you know what it is. Let go. You have Keith Idec, who's a boxing reporter with Ring Magazine. And he was told that Abdullah Mason will fight Jeremiah Nakathila in ESPN's 10-round co-feature June 7th in Norfolk, Virginia. Abdullah Mason, will fight for the third time in less than 3 months on the Keyshawn Davis versus Edwin De Los Santos undercard, right? And he has a whole write-up about it. Now, again, as I said at the beginning, leave it to your mans, your boy Ego, to break it down in a way that's all truthful that nobody else is doing. Why is this a big problem? Why am I saying this is bad news? I know some of you guys are scratching your head like, oh man, Ego, get to the point. What you mean? The reason I'm saying this is bad news is listen to what I just said. Abdullah Mason to fight Jeremiah Nakathila on a Keyshawn Davis versus Edwin De Los Santos card. If you know boxing, like I know boxing, you will know that both of those fighters are facing opponents that Shakur Stevenson has already faced. Shakur Stevenson fought Jeremiah Nakathila and low-key struggled with him. His face was kind of beat up after the fight, and he even went as far as saying this guy was awkward and scary because he's some random African. Did we get him? Fananawe, Africa. Fananawe, Malaysia, 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 right? He fought a random African dude that he was the first to fight him. No one had ever heard of, right? And like I said, he low-key kind of struggled with him because he was, quote, awkward with power. These are Shakur Stevenson's own words. This is Shakur Stevenson directly after he faced the African Nakathila. Roll the clip.
I feel like it was an awkward fighter in front of me, real awkward, real scary, and he knew how to do just enough to keep me from jumping on him, but
I told you your boy Ego don't be lying. He said he was real scary and he was doing just enough to keep me from not jumping on him. You know what I mean? Since that moment, since that fight, mind you, this was the fight where Shakur, I really want to say, really started receiving criticism for his performances, right? Tim Bradley on this telecast said it was so boring that virtually he fell asleep or he was about to fall asleep. He was making smart comments like, I need coffee to watch Shakur Stevenson fight to stay up and all that type of stuff. And a lot of people did that as well. And in this fight, I try to give my honest opinion. I was like, it wasn't the most fun fight to watch. However, he got past it, got the win. You can learn from it. Since that point, Shakur has put up similar performances to this, if not worse. So now it's looking like more so a Shakur problem. So for me, what I said at the beginning of this video, the reason this is bad news is you have two young Illas, put the K in front of that. Two young Illas, Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis. They possess the equalizer that Shakur Stevenson doesn't necessarily have, which is power. So I think by having two young black American fighters fighting on the same card in Norfolk, Virginia, right? Against Shakur Stevenson, quote, leftovers. I guarantee you that at least with Abdullah Mason, for sure, I think that Abdullah Mason, I would put large sums of money that he'll chop up Nakathila, right? I have no doubt in my mind. I think Keyshawn versus Edwin De Los Santos is a much better fight. However, Edwin De Los Santos is coming from being sick, a blood clot, been out the ring for a year. So, you know, Keyshawn probably has the edge there, but on paper, it's a good fight if it's the Edwin that we've always seen in the Shakur fight, and El Rayo, yada, yada, yada. And he has power. So to me, the main event is a better fight. However, the bottom line, the point that I'm making is you have both of these guys that Shakur Stevenson fought fighting other young black talents, and more than likely those young black talents, Keyshawn, and also you have Abdullah Mason, are going to upstage Shakur's performance. When you are great, when you are a top level talent, when you're elite, or even if you say you are elite, people are going to hold you to some kind of standard. Shakur Stevenson is constantly telling, like, oh, I'll beat this guy, I'll beat Tank, I can't wait to show y'all, I'm learning every day, I can't wait to get back to sparring. All these tweets about what he'll do to Zepeda and how easy it'll be and stuff like that. And I will be honest, some of his performances have left more to be desired, you know what I mean? And then now you got these two young up and coming dudes, and they're likely to upstage you. Again, Keyshawn Davis, that's your homie, that's your boy. You said you would never fight him. People want to see you fight Abdullah Mason. And then I don't know if Top Rank did this intentionally, but it kind of feels that way because Shakur Stevenson left Top Rank kind of on a sour note and was talking about him. And now they do a whole card with Shakur Stevenson's leftovers. And given the circumstance, as I mentioned throughout this video, there's a strong chance that the Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn come through this and have good performances. Keyshawn, he looks spectacular at home when he fought Gustavo Lemos. So he's definitely not going to be looking to want to lose at home. In addition to that, like I said, Top Rank matchmaking. They do little clever things. They're catching Edwin De Los Santos on a break. It's the reality of it. You know what I mean? Some people get mad at the truth. Like, oh man, why are you bringing it up? You're trying to take away from Keyshawn's win. Yo, if you're fighting Gustavo Lemos off of a loss, coming from 140 to 135, if you're fighting Edwin De Los Santos off of a year plus layoff and blood clot, that's what it is. I'm not going to lie to protect your frigid, frail ego. You know what I mean? That's not what I do. I'm just keeping it real. Nothing I said in this video was a lie. And I do believe the pressure will be on Shakur Stevenson. Now, you also had Shakur Stevenson. I did a full unpack video. Check that on the channel. He dissed Turkey, said, I bow down to no man, and then came back and retracted it and said, oh man, Turkey, man, let's work together. It was a misunderstanding. I apologize. So things aren't necessarily looking amazing for Shakur Stevenson in recent memory. And then now Top Rank, your former promoter, is putting together this card that sees two people in your division, and they have huge chances to make statements against your old foes. And then Shakur is going to have to keep explaining the sweet science. Oh man, if Pernell Whitaker fought today, people would not give him credit. We love Pernell Whitaker. We're talking about your recent performances. And Nakathila is really going to be bad for him because Abdullah Mason looked very good in his last fight. He's young, he's strong, he's pretty big. And Nakathila, he's like a crash dummy at this point. He lost to Shakur, then he lost to Murataya, and then he got knocked out. He got knocked out by Murataya, then he got knocked out by Ernesto Tito Mercado, who also called out Shakur Stevenson, right? So now Abdullah Mason, Top Rank matchmaking, that's what they're doing. They're just like when they gave Keyshawn Jose Pedraza. And it's like, oh, he stopped Pedraza quicker than Tank. You know what I mean? That's how they build their guys, things like that. But all in all, this is going to be bad for Shakur Stevenson because people are waiting for these dominant performances that he keeps like almost promising. And then his resume is aging like coconut milk, right? Where you see Joet Gonzalez and then Shakur beats him, doesn't really inflict too much damage, but then he fights Navarrete and gets destroyed and his face looked crazy. And then same thing when Navarrete got Valdez after Shakur Stevenson. Navarrete really beat the brakes off of Valdez, hurt him, messed his face up. And then he did the same thing in the rematch, except for quicker and actually got the stoppage, right? Then Nakathila is not going to, in my opinion, it's not going to be a win that ages well. So Shakur is going to be stuck with these performances, and then people, Muratayas and Keyshawns and Abdullah Masons and Navarretes keep upstaging him.